Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. In this lecture, we are going to see current affairs of 6th April 2021. In this lecture, we are going to discuss 8 articles which are very much relevant to UPSC. So, let's get started with our discussion and let us see first article. Title says Lavrov Jaishankar talks today. So, this article mainly talking about India-Russia talks. So this article will be important regarding GS paper 2 under international relations. So now let us see this topic in a very great detail. So before this I want to give you a small homework. So you need to refer about background of India-Russia relations because I didn't attach this India-Russia relations in this lecture, but in our daily current affairs PDF. So we are going to attach this background of India and Russia relations for sure. Okay. So that will be released by night 9 o'clock, right? So this daily current affairs PDF will be given only for students who enroll to this current affairs package. Okay. So in that PDF we are going to have a detailed thing regarding this India-Russia relations. Okay, don't forget about that and please refer after 9 o'clock regarding this PDF. And now let us see this article in a great detail. So this article mainly talking about India-Russia relations. So if you see context here, so a round of discussion between India and Russia that is going to happen, and they are going to focus on peace efforts in Afghanistan. So if you're talking about Afghanistan, there are many stakeholders who are present, and May 1st it is a deadline for USA to withdraw its troops from Afghanistan. So because of this, USA want to come up with a new peace process. So in this new peace process, it want to include all regional partners, okay, to come up with final solution for this Afghanistan. Okay, so this round of discussion between India and Russia also focusing on this peace efforts in Afghanistan. So this meeting will also provide India with a window to share its frank assessment about continuing scenario in eastern Ladakh along LAC. As we know here, if you're talking about global politics, we have China on one side and we have USA on one side, right? So between this China and USA, there is trade war like situation. We can see some new Cold War situation that is happening between China and USA. So because of this, if you're talking about India also have some dispute with China regarding its border, right? Its border. So India, it is moving towards USA. And if you're talking about Russia also have some issues with USA. So because of this, it is moving towards China. And if you are talking about Pakistan which is all-weather friend to China. So in this way here, what happened because of this new Cold War like situation that is present between China and USA. So now there is geopolitics that is altered here. Okay, so because of this, now in this meeting, in this discussion between India and Russia, we are also going to talk about this LAC, that is line of actual control issue, because Russia is all-weather friend or it is moving towards China nowadays. Okay, so this is some important thing that should remember, and don't forget about referring of background regarding Russia-India relations. And now let us see next article. Title says Panacea Biotech to make 100 million doses of Sputnik 5. So this article talking about COVID-19 vaccine, that is Russia-based vaccine, that is Sputnik 5. So we discussed about this article in our yesterday's lecture also. In our yesterday's lecture, we saw some facts regarding this Sputnik 5. So because of this, we are not going to see any facts regarding this Sputnik 5 in this lecture. So now let us see what is written in this article. So this article will be important regarding GS paper 2 under health. If you see this article, if you see especially context, so if you see context, it mainly says that vaccine and pharma major Panacea Biotech has joined growing list of Indian firms cleared to produce Sputnik 5. So there are about 5 Indian firms, okay, they are going to produce this Sputnik 5 vaccine. So last fifth firm here is Panacea Biotech. It is Delhi based, okay, Delhi based industry, and it is also going to produce the Sputnik 5. So if you are talking about some details regarding this article, it mainly says that these 5 firms will produce 100 million doses per year of this Sputnik 5. So if you are talking about this Sputnik 5 vaccine, it was registered in 59 countries. In India, we are waiting to get this emergency use authorization from this Drug Controller General of India. Okay, so India is awaiting this emergency use authorization permission from Subject Expert Committee. So this Subject Expert Committee mainly advises this Drug Controller General of India to give access or to give permission for emergency use authorization. And if you see what is significance of this move, so first one is whenever we are increasing our production of these vaccines, it will facilitate global supply of vaccines and will also helps to produce vaccine in India, and it will also helps to supply to international partners also. So in this way we can increase our supply of this COVID-19 based to number of countries. And now let us see advantages of this Sputnik 5. So first and foremost here is, if you are talking about storage temperature, so here we can go for liquid thing and we can go for dried, freeze dried thing. So this freeze dried thing that can be stored within temperature that is 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. That means we can store in our conventional refrigerators. So there is no need of additional cold chain infrastructure to maintain this vaccines or to store these vaccines. And next one is, if you are talking about cost of these shots, it is less than $10 per shot. So it is also most affordable. So these are some important advantages of the Sputnik 5 vaccines. And now let us see next article. Title says INS Virat now private property of shipbreaker. So this article mainly talking about one Indian naval ship, that is Virat. So this article will be important regarding GS paper 3 under defense. So now let us try to understand this article, and this article is important regarding prelims. So in prelims you can expect some statements regarding this INS Virat. So please be prepared with this. And now let us see context first. So this INS Virat, it is Navy's decommissioned aircraft carrier. So now it became private property of a shipbreaker. So after this shipbreaker already toned down about 40% of its body for simply scrap. Okay, so this is about context. And if you see some details here, so our Supreme Court told a private company that it wants to turn this vessel into maritime museum cum adventure center. So on February 20th, Supreme Court ordered stay on process of dismantling of this ship to that company. And now let us see some facts regarding this INS Virat. So it is a Centaur class aircraft carrier and it is weighing about 27,800 tons. And this aircraft carrier served British Army as HMS Harms for 25 years, that is from 1959 to 1984. And the Centaur class was light fleet carrier designs and it built for Royal Navy, that is British Navy, and it was closing years of Second World War. During this closing years of Second World War, they came up with the Centaur class aircraft carrier and it served in British Army for 25 years, that is from 1959 to 1984. So after this refurbishment, so it was commissioned to our Indian Navy in 1987. So after this refurbishment of this INS Virat, so we commissioned this in our Indian Navy in 1987, and later it worked for 3 decades, and finally we came up with decommission of this INS Virat in March 2017. Okay, so if you're talking about some important details of this INS Virat, so it is one of longest serving warship in world, and it also holds world's Guinness Book record. And this Virat also played a major role, an important role in Operation Jupiter, which happened in the year 1989, okay, in Sri Lankan peacekeeping operation. So these are some important things that should remember regarding this article. And now let us see next article. Title says Afghan president to unveil new peace proposal officials. So this article mainly talking about new peace proposal which came up by this Afghan president. So this article mainly talking that Afghanistan president, he is coming up with some new peace proposal. So this peace proposal mainly contains 3 steps. So these 3 steps will be important regarding mains point of view. And as you know, in Afghanistan there are many stakeholders who are involved. So first one is we have Taliban, we have Afghanistan government. That is, in this Afghanistan government also we can see 2 different groups. First one is Abdullah and next one is Ashraf Ghani. And next one is in Afghanistan we see there is increased presence of USA and also Russia, which is also entering now, and China is also coming up, and Pakistan, it is giving training to Taliban, and we also have India. So these all are some of stakeholders which are involved in this Afghanistan. But Afghanistan, what happened here? Taliban want to take control of Afghanistan. Okay, and here we also have this democratic government in Afghanistan, but it is failing mainly to control this Taliban. So because of this, there is increased violence that is seen in Afghanistan. So this is some important background. So why US entered here? So this Taliban attacked Twin Towers of USA. So because of this, USA entered into Afghanistan and killed Osama bin Laden. Okay. So from that time onwards, US, which is present in Afghanistan. So now let us try to understand here. So recently US came up with Afghanistan peace process, and it came up with agreement with Taliban. So in that agreement, US agreed to come out or withdraw its troops by May 1st. Okay. So May 1st, it is very near. We have only some weeks of time, right? So if at all now US government which is not withdrawing its troops from this Afghanistan, so already here Taliban's warned US that if they are not going to withdraw its troops before this deadline, they are going to fight with USA. Okay, so this is one cause of concern. And second important cause of concern for USA is whenever it is withdrawing its troops without any proper peace process in Afghanistan, that will also lead to increased violence in Afghanistan. So this is also second important cause of concern for USA. So because of this, recently US came up with a new peace proposal, and it is including regional countries to come up with solutions for this Afghanistan peace process. So now let us try to understand what this article it is talking about. So if you see context, it mainly says that Afghan president has drawn up a new proposal for peace with Taliban ahead of an international conference. Here Afghanistan president drawn up one new proposal for peace in Afghanistan. Okay, so important aim of this international conference is to jumpstart flattering talks of between two sides, that is between Afghanistan government and as well as Taliban. So if you see some details of this article, it mainly says that so this mainly comes after US backed by Russia and as well as other stakeholders. They want to see some form of a transition of government involving Taliban. So these countries like USA, which are backed up by Russia and as well as other stakeholders, they want to get peace in this Afghanistan, mainly to establish peace in this Afghanistan. So whatever government is present now, this government needs some transition. So they also include Taliban here to bring peace in this Afghanistan. So in this context, President of Afghanistan, that is Mr. Ghani, intends to present his 3-stage plan at UN-backed conference in Turkey. And now let us see details of this. What is this 3-stage plan? So first important thing here is we need to reach political settlement with Taliban. So after that, they are going to announce internationally monitored ceasefire, and after ceasefire they will hold for presidential elections. Okay, so in this presidential election, government will be formed by taking this Taliban also part of this government. So this is 3 steps of new proposal proposed by this Mr. Ghani. Okay, so this is gist of this article. And now let us see next article. Title says manufacturing PMI, that is Purchaser Managers Index, dips to 7-month low. So this article mainly talking about this PMI. So this will be important regarding economy, which comes under GS paper 3. So this topic will be very much important regarding prelims. So now let us try to talk about this article in a great detail. So this article mainly talking about this purchasing managers index. So if you're talking about context here, it mainly says that India's factory activity that grew at its weakest pace in 7 months in March. Okay, so if you are comparing from last 7 months, in March we are seeing there is decreased activity. So if you see some details here, so because of renewed lockdowns, we went for imposition of lockdowns to contain this coronavirus, right? So later on we came with unlock phases, right? So now we renewed our lockdowns to curtail resurgence in COVID-19, and we also damped domestic demand and as well as output. So in last week, what happened? Government of India mainly made some announcement that government advised states to try and to control the rapid spread of virus here. So because of this, now states they may go for tighter restrictions. So it will be very much tough in month of April. So these are some important details which are given in this article. So if you see some data which is highlighted here, so this manufacturing purchaser managers index here, it mainly compiled by IHS market. So it mainly declined to 7-month low of 55.4 in last month. From February it is 57.5. So if you are comparing with February, it was 57.5 and now it is 55.4. So if you see here, this value it is remained above level of 50, right? So if you are talking about some facts regarding this purchasers managers index here, so it is important indicator of business activity for manufacturing and services. So there will be different index which will be released for manufacturing and different index for services, and this index which is mainly based on survey, so it is also called as survey based measure. So in this survey it asks respondents about the changes in their perception about key business variables when we are comparing with previous month. So this will be calculated separately for manufacturing and separately for services. So if you are talking about value of this purchaser managers index, so it will be from 0 to 100. So here base value is 50, that is middle value is 50, right? So we are going to divide into below 50 is equal to 50 and more than 50. So if value is below 50, that means it represents contraction in economy. So if value is equal to 50, then it indicates no contraction or no change. And if value is more than 50, it represents expansion, okay, when we are comparing with that of previous month. So these are some important things that should remember regarding this article. And now let us see next article. So before seeing this article, I want to make a small announcement on this platform. So if you are preparing for UPSC 2022, we came up with one excellent course, that is Current Affairs Package, along with mains answer writing practice. So why you need to join this course? So before going into exam hall of 2022 prelims, you need to cover at least 1.5 years current affairs, and this is right time to join this course to cover 1.5 years current affairs. And if you are talking about importance of current affairs, about 50 to 60% of questions, whether it may be prelims or mains or even interview, you can expect questions from this current affairs. So mastering of current affairs, it is very important to clear UPSC. And if you are talking about this mains answer writing practice, especially who are beginners, who are freshers, they ignore about this mains answer writing practice. Even though they clear prelims, they will not clear mains if there is no proper answer writing skills. Exactly, we are focusing on how to improve this mains answer writing skills in this program. And if you join this, we also conduct prelims test on weekly basis. We also provide video solutions here. So in this way, this course is exactly focusing on demand of UPSC. So details of this course are given in description box. So please visit that once. And if you want to talk to me directly regarding this course, you can call me on this number 8074765513. Okay, please note this number. And now let's come back and let us see next article. Title says persistent mindlessness. So this article mainly talking about Naxal attack in Sukma district, which is located in state of Chhattisgarh. So this topic is very important under left-wing extremism in India. So this is important for mains, which is part of our syllabus under GS paper 3 in internal security, not international, but it comes under internal security. So whatever important regarding this article, we are going to discuss in a great detail. Okay. So if you're talking about context, so recently Naxal attack or Maoist attack that happened. So in this attack, a team of security forces, they were attacked by People's Liberation Guerrilla Army in Tarim area, which is located near Sukma, Bijapur district. Okay. So in this attack, several security personnel, they lost their life, and there are several who injured in this attack. So this is context. So if you're talking about this People's Liberation Guerrilla Army, so it was founded in year 2000. Okay, it was founded in year 2000, and it has been declared as terrorist organization, and this organization banned under UAPA, that is Unlawful Activities of Prevention Act of 1967. So under this act, here this People Liberation Guerrilla Army declared as terrorist organization. And if you're talking about some facts regarding this Sukma district, we discussed regarding this Sukma district in our yesterday's lecture, right? So it is located at southern tip of Chhattisgarh, and this district carved out of this Dantewada in year 2012. And this area mainly covered with semi-tropical desert area, okay? And if you are talking about the Sukma district, it is mainly mainland of tribal community. Mainly Gond tribals live in this area. So if you are talking about some facts regarding this left-wing extremism, what is this? So this left-wing extremism, it is also popularly known as Maoist and as well as Naxalites in India. So Naxalite are nothing but Maoist, okay? So these comes under this left-wing extremism in India. So term Naxalism, it mainly derived from village, that is Naxalbari in West Bengal. So what happened in West Bengal? So this Naxalism mainly originated as a rebellion against local landlords. Okay. So these local landlords, they used to ask these farmers or tenants to pay high amount of taxes, so and so. So because of this, here this rebellion that initiated in year 1967 against this landlords. So important objective of this Naxalbari movement was to provide rightful redistribution of land to working peasants. So later on, slowly this movement, that is from Naxalbari in West Bengal, that transmitted towards east sides, for example in Chhattisgarh, Odisha, and as well as even Andhra Pradesh here. So in this way, Naxals mainly support Maoist political sentiments and as well as ideology. So if you're talking about this Maoism, it is one form of communism mainly developed by Mao Zedong, okay. So this Maoist mainly follows one important doctrine. So name of that doctrine is doctrine to capture state power through combination of armed insurgency and as well as mass mobilization and strategic alliance. So these are the things which are mainly followed in Naxalism also. So if you are talking about what are government steps are taken to curb this Naxalism. So first one is government came up with establishment of greyhounds that was raised in year 1989. Okay. So it is mainly anti-Naxalist force. And next one is government came up with Operation Green Hunt. So this program started in year 2009 to 2010. So under this Operation Green Hunt, government came up with massive deployment of security forces. And government came up with Aspiration District program, and this program launched recently in 2018. So important aim of this Aspiration District program, it is to rapidly transform districts that have shown relatively less progress, or whenever there is least development in any area, that will lead to this type of problems. So because of this, government came up with this aspirational district program. And finally, government also came up with one-stop solution for this left-wing extremism, that is Samadhan. So this Samadhan mainly stands for S for smart leadership, A for aggressive strategy, M for motivation and training, A for actionable intelligence, D for dashboard based key performance indicators, okay, key reform areas, and H for harnessing technology, A for action plan for theatre, and N for no access to financing. So these are some important one-stop solution for this left-wing extremism in India. Okay, so this is gist of this article. I hope it is clear. And now let us say next article. Title says the pillar of equitable post-COVID-19 India. So this article mainly talking about inequality in India. So recently we also studied about this new Pew Research, okay, research report regarding inequalities in India. So this article mainly talking about inequality and this new peer research report of inequality. And finally, it is saying that how inequality which is increasing in this post COVID-19 or post pandemic era. And finally, it is coming up with 3-step plan or solutions for this, how to end this inequality in India. So this article is very important regarding mains point of view, which mainly comes under GS paper 2 under society and as well as social issues. So now let us try to understand this article in a great detail. So you have to remember this article will be important regarding mains from not prelims point of view. So from prelims point of view, you can refer about this Pew Research report. Okay. So this article mainly talking about inequality in India. So what is context? So whether inequality is new to India? So I want to pose one important question. No. This inequality is not because of COVID-19 now. So before this COVID-19, that is before this pre-COVID-19 era also, we have inequality in our society. And after this post-COVID-19 era, we are going to see there will be increased inequalities here. So how I am saying there is increased inequality in this pandemic? So recently here one report, that is Pew Research report, it mainly said that India's middle class, they may have shrunk by 1/3 due to this COVID-19 pandemic, and even number of poor people who are earning less than 150 rupees per day may be doubled. So because of this situation which is already present before COVID-19 pandemic, now after this COVID-19 pandemic, it will worsen our inequalities in our society. So even some international organizations like World Bank, International Monetary Fund and as well as International Labour Organization, they are also warned about rising inequalities in several countries, including even in India also. So if you're talking about inequalities in India, first we need to talk about inequalities before COVID-19. So in this pre-COVID-19 era also, we have these inequalities. For example, with this pre-COVID-19 era, we mainly examine there is very much slowed down economy that we had already experienced. We have increased unemployment problem and there is low in incomes, and as well as there is rural distress and as well as malnutrition. So these are some important problems that we are facing not only now but even before this COVID-19 pandemic. So India's next important thing we can talk about inequality is most of economic sector which comes under this informal sectors. So these informal sectors, they do not have proper job security, they do not have proper social security, and they are most vulnerable to this inequalities. Okay. So now after this pandemic which entered into our life, it widens inequality furthermore. So if you are talking about this pandemic, in this pandemic, only big companies and as well as some large part of corporate sector, they could manage this pandemic, but not small and micro medium enterprises. Okay. So if you're talking about informal sector and workers who have suffered a lot of loss of incomes and as well as employment. So because of this COVID-19 pandemic, we imposed national-wide lockdown. So because of this, many factories, many industries, many construction, many real estates, so what not, each and every sector that affected very much. But if you're talking about people who are working under this informal sector, they do not have proper job security, they do not have proper income security, right? So because of this, most of the people who are working in this informal sector, they lost their jobs, they do not have any income, they lost their income also. So in this way, this informal sector which is mostly affected due to this COVID-19 pandemic. And if you're talking about employment, so according to one report, that is Center for Monitoring Indian Economy, so employment rate, it is still 2.5% lower when we are comparing to the top level of pandemic, before pandemic. So before pandemic, how much amount of employment rate is present, and now employment, it is decreased, it is still 2.5% lower. And under this employment, most of people who lost their employment belongs to women. So women, they lost more jobs, and many are out of workforce even now here. So because of all these things, we can say there is rise in inequality especially in different sectors. Okay, for example, healthcare and as well as even in education. So there is increased inequality. So if you're talking about inequality in education, so if at all, if in a house there is one girl and as well as one boy, so they have only one mobile phone. So now we are going for online classes, right? Online teaching. So because of this, there is a need of gadget, right? Either it is a tab or phone or laptop or computer. So we need this electronic gadgets to continue our online classes. But if there is only one mobile phone, so whenever there is only one mobile phone is present, so it will be given to boy child rather than girl child. So because of this, we can also see there is inequality that is rising in this education sector also. And this author mainly talks about 3-step plan that to be followed to decrease inequalities. So these are 3-step solutions for ending of inequalities in our country. So first one is we need to create quality or productive employment. So productive employment or creating some quality employment, it is one of important central thing for inclusive growth approach. And second one is already investment rate which is declined when we are comparing with that of 2011 to 2012. In 2018 to 2019, so investment that fall from 37% to 31.7%. So we need to improve this investment. And next one is if you're talking about employment, we are facing mainly 7 challenges. So these 7 challenges, they need to be addressed. So first one is there are millions of people who are unemployed, right? So government, is it possible to create 7 to 8 millions of jobs? So this is one important challenge. And next one is there is mismatch between supply and demand that need to be addressed. So proper skill, it is not present with youth. So we need to improve their skill and we need to address some structural challenges also. So now we are moving towards industrial revolution, automation, increasing technology or technology development that will also lead to curb of this employment. And next one is providing some decent living standards for all these 7 to 8 millions. It is impossible, right? So these are some important challenges and we need to address these challenges. Okay. And second important thing is we need to create equality of opportunity by improving human development. But how can we improve human development? So this can be improved by increasing our public expenditure, especially in health sector and as well as education. So if you're talking about health sector, as of now, government is spending just 1.5% of GDP in health sector. We need to increase to 2 to 3%. And next one is we need to provide quasi-universal basic income and as well as other safety nets. So this is one of recommendation which is given by our C. Rangarajan committee. So what will comes under this? So first one is we can go for providing some cash transfers to all women who are above age of 20 years. And next one is we need to go for expanding number of days which are provided under this MG Narega. So under this MG Narega, government is providing some employment guarantee in rural areas. Okay. And apart from this, we can also focus on how to increase farmers' income. Okay. Especially regarding the small and marginal farmers. So in this way, we can decrease inequalities and we need to increase or we need to create demand in our economy. So this is just of this article. I hope it is clear. And now let us say next article. Title says US and China need each other. So this article mainly talking about US and China. So this article will be important regarding international relations which comes under GS paper 2. And this topic will be important regarding mains. So in this topic, author mainly talked about what are concerns between USA and China, and finally he said that there is need of each other. Okay, so that is the thing which is mainly said in this article by author. So now let us try to discuss each and everything in a great detail. So this article mainly focusing on US-China relations. So if you are talking about background, our former US president, that is Donald Trump, he accused China for unfair trade practices and he started imposing sanctions. Okay, so what happened first? He led to imposition of restrictions. Finally, it led to sanctions, also increased tariff. So because of this, that led to trade war between China and USA. So our former US president, that is Donald Trump, accused China of unfair trade practices and he pursued a dual policy of offering deals and as well as threatening sanctions. First he came up with restrictions, and that led to increase in tariff between these two, and finally that led to trade war like situation, and finally it also led to increase or imposition of sanctions on China. So in this context, China continued to extend its influence and want to counter America. Okay, so it also came with tit-tat tariffs also. Okay, and China also focused on how to increase its military funding, and China want to increase its military power also. So later on, USA and Europe imposed sanctions against China, Russia and also others, and US also sponsored Quad. So this is quadrilateral dialogue, mainly includes 4 countries. They include India, USA, Japan and Australia. Finally here US, which is sponsoring this Quad, means it is mainly trying to focus. It is mainly proving to uphill effort to counter China. So if you are talking now, here new administration that came into power in USA. So now Mr. Biden censored China for human rights abuse, mainly in Hong Kong and as well as Xinjiang province. Xinjiang province, it is famous for some Muslim minorities, that is Uyghurs. Okay, and in Hong Kong it is tightening its grip. It is mainly coming up with some legislative changes, and it is mainly want to increase tightening grip on this Hong Kong. So we are also seeing some human rights abuse in Hong Kong and as well as Xinjiang province. And USA also show some concerns regarding increased aggression of China in South and East China. Okay, East China Sea here. In South China Sea, it came up with 9 dashed line, and it is mainly claiming entire South China Sea. And next one is China is also coming up with intimidation of Taiwan, and also there is some concerns regarding intellectual property rights theft between USA and China, and there is also some allegations regarding currency manipulation of China, and also recent cyber attacks. Okay, cyber attacks mainly seen in even India also, some power company, right? Okay, so because of all these reasons, there is increased US-China tensions. So due to this China's rise, that is mainly transforming power settings. So why there is increased tensions between USA and China? Because here USA mainly thinks that so China, which is mainly increasing its power. So whenever China which is increasing power, it will be surpassed by USA also. So because of this, USA mainly attempting to construct China before it is becoming a peer competitor for USA. So in this way, some important report, it also says that China will surpass USA as world's largest economy. Okay, so in this way, why here China which is going to surpass USA? Because it is having worldwide network of economic ties. So China which is coming up with number of infrastructure projects in number of countries. It is coming up with belt and road initiatives, and it is coming up with China-Pakistan economic corridor and number of infrastructure projects in Sri Lanka, and even it is coming up with China-Myanmar economic corridor. So in this way, it is increasing its presence in many countries here. Okay, and China, it is also going to setting up different organization. It is also part of several multilateral and financial institutions. For example, we can say Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and we can say New Development Bank, and AIB, that is Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank here. So because of this, finally here author mainly says that they need not to go for fighting against each other. USA and China, they are rhetoric mask, and reality these both countries, they need each other. So whenever they are having proper cooperation, that will help for world stability, that will also attract investments and market access, and it will also help for growth of both the countries, and it will also helpful for revival of supply chains. It will also help to create jobs, and also it will improve services between these two countries. So this is conclusion which is given by this author. So this is gist of this article. I hope it is clear now. Now let us see question. Discuss the threat of left-wing extremism to India. Briefly explain Government of India's approach to counter challenges posed by this left-wing extremism. So this question mainly have 2 sub-questions. So first one is you need to discuss what is threat from this left-wing extremism. So in introduction, you can write about what is this left-wing extremism, right? And you need to talk about threats which are posed by this left-wing extremism to India. And here second part, you need to provide some government initiatives which are taken to curb this left-wing extremism. and you should write answer, and answer should not be more than 250 words. Okay. So by this we are concluding today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. And don't forget to enroll Current Affairs Package. Thank you so much.